Hey guys, this is Paul and Ray with the No Color Thick Skin podcast. We are so excited that you're here with us. Thank you so much for showing up for episode 8, Ray's Occupation. We finally get to know.
Gotta give the people what they want, Paul.
Woo,
gotta give the people what they want, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You ready for this?
Hey, man. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I am.
I am so ready, guys. You have no idea.
We've been holding on to this for a good while, and for me, it's difficult because there's so many things that I could have referenced in some of our other podcasts, and I didn't do it. But the podcast still turned out fire. Like we've had some great podcasts, but I could have given a little more if I spoke about what it is that I do. But everything happens for a reason, and I'm glad that that we have it to where we have it now.
This is exciting,
dude. Yeah. I know in episode 6, when we talked about disappointment, when I told you all that story, I had like a rollout to how I wanted this to go and how this whole thing was supposed to go mentally, and I had it all ready to go, and then those garden tools did what they did in that garden tool type way that they do, and it just didn't pop the way that we wanted it to. But you know what? Like I said, everything happens for a reason, and we are going to get into it. I'm not gonna hold anything back. So whatever Paul lays upon thee.
Well, Ray, I want to know how your week was, but also I understand that people really want to know. Get to it. So my week was good.
Fantastic.
My family's healthy.
The girls are growing.
We're doing good. Girls are good. Son is good.
He's doing fantastic. Wife is feeling good. Everybody's happy.
Yep.
My children are doing fantastic. Family's good. And yes, it's been a good week. So yes. And with that being said, it's been a busy week at the funeral home, man.
Oh, man.
It has been bonkers. It's been bananas, man. So, folks, I work in the death care industry.
Say it again.
For the people in the back. Hey, is this thing on? Hot mic. Hi, my name is Ray. And I work in the death care industry.
What?
Yeah. So I say death care industry because there are so many different levels of this industry that I've worked in. So many. But currently I work in a funeral home. So I am a licensed funeral director and a licensed embalmer here in the state of Texas. So that means that I can do all things in the front of the funeral home, and I can do all things in the back, in the dark.
And that's unique, isn't it?
It's very unique, and I'll say that, and I don't mean to be facetious, or I don't mean to,
toot your own horn, bro.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but when it comes to dual licensed individuals, there's not a lot, and I'll talk about the licensing and how that type of thing works. But a lot of people, they opt to do one or the other. We see that a lot in the corporations and their setup, and some people just aren't people, and they prefer to be in the back, and some people don't want to be in the back and they only want to be in the front. So there are many different levels to that, but I am a licensed funeral director and embalmer, as I stated, and to be a they say under 45 or whatever is young. So to be a young black dual license person in Texas and North Texas here in this area, I'm not gonna say I'm a unicorn or anything. I got a bunch of friends who are, but it's not a lot of us. So I will say that, it's not a lot of us. So, but yeah. So with that, as I said, I work in a funeral home, a small family-owned funeral home, and I say small just because it's family. It isn't a corporate structure thing or anything like that. It's all family. My boss is there every day. Mad respect for him. I love that man. He has opened my eyes and changed my life for the better so many ways. His son, who I went to mortuary college with, who I developed a relationship with, who we actually had a friendship in high school. We went to rival high schools, but we knew each other, and we got close as we went to mortuary college, not even knowing that we were going to mortuary college at the same time. And
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. I walk in, I see his face, and I'm like, well, what are you doing here? Because he was running from it. He He wasn't trying to do it. He didn't want to follow in his dad's footsteps. So, but working for them has been just great, man. And they've welcomed me. They welcomed me with open arms. I've been there for a number of years, and I'm truly blessed to be there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. So
so they're not owned by anybody else. It's just them.
Yeah, not owned by a corporation. You have family-owned funeral homes, which is ran by the family, or maybe an investor or two here or there, and then you have the corporate structure. There's the big corporation. It's 3 letters. I'm not gonna call them out, whatever. But that's a big corporation. They own couple thousand something funeral homes and cemeteries across the United States and Canada, and they have a full team of people. So
I can't be the only one that has so many questions about this.
Yeah,
but I'm going to ask a few of my questions, but Ray's got all the answers.
So so you have corporate funeral service, and there's a corporate structure. I mean, it's ran funeral. It's funeral service, but at a corporate setting, man. And
that's cool.
They have certain things that they have that are their core values and what it is that they strive to have for their corporate setting. And we do things a little different at a family run. We're more hands-on, and we're more community-based with how we do our approach, and that's great for me. That's the type of place I need to be in. So
the way you were telling me, like, to kind of, if I remember you correctly, when I originally kind of asked what you do, you were like, man, somebody can call me up, tell me that their family member has passed. I go there, pick them up, take them to the mortuary place. I transport them, with one of our vehicles, and do the before that, do the body all proper and get them all correctly and the thing that they need to get to the place. And that's difficult. I don't know if anybody's tried to lift another person before, but that can be really difficult. And then you take that person.
They call it dead weight.
Dead weight, for real. And then you get them all fixed up, and then you have you schedule their time to have the thing, whatever kind of service they want to do.
All that.
And then you are actually there with the families when that happens.
So, Paul, for me, and this is where I will maybe toot my own horn.
Toot.
I'm what I call a real undertaker.
Toot.
Right? I'm a real undertaker. Okay, I'm not a garden tool like some garden tools out there. I'm not trying to just get by just doing just a little bit here. No, I'm a real undertaker, and I work with and for some real undertakers. So when I say that jokingly, just being funny, because the terminology has changed over the years. I think everybody has heard undertaker, and they know that that's someone who works.
A wrestler.
Yeah. The dead man. Yep, the dead man. Yes, who was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Duh.
Yeah.
So being an undertaker, people know that as a name. Some people interchange mortician with that as well, and then you have funeral director, and then you have embalmer. So when I say I'm a real undertaker, all of those tasks that you just stated are true. I am thankful that I have the ability to be able to, from initial notification of a passing to assisting a family with setting their headstone out for their loved one, I can do all and everything in between. So,
Wow.
as you said, we work some pretty intense hours. So if I'm on call, and I'll reference this again a little later. So if I'm on call and let's say someone's passed away at 2:30 in the morning, no, it doesn't matter if it's at their house, it doesn't matter if it's at a nursing facility, assisted living facility, a hospital, wherever, we get that call, we got to go. Rain, sleet, hail or snow. When the undertaker gets that call, the undertaker got to go. So,
Wow.
and when the what was the Snowmageddon that happened
Oh my
a couple of
gosh.
years ago, I was slipping and sliding down Highway 35, going to assist families and making sure that I get their loved one in our care safely as possible, for sure.
Wow.
Like I said, hailstorms, rain, it doesn't matter. We get out there and we serve our family. So
Man.
if a call comes in, I go and I will get our removal vehicle, which is just a standard Dodge Caravan. That's kind of what we use. We take the back
Definitely
seats
big
out.
enough.
Yeah. So we take the back seat. We take the two back seats out. Put something down as a flat surface to assist us in getting the cots in and out of the vans, and I'll get a removal van, go to set destination. Hopefully some family is there present. I can speak with them, see what the final disposition that they would like to go forward with. And when I say disposition, I mean services that they would like for us to assist them with. If they want traditional burial, traditional services with traditional open casket and viewing, whether it be visitation or funeral service, we'll assist with that. Or if they want cremation, we can assist with the cremation as well. So, a lot of people don't like to have those conversations, but those are conversations you really you really want to have with your loved ones, just to kind of know, because I've been in situations where I'm sitting at the arrangement conference and, let's say a mother passed away and she has 3 children. Let's say in 1993, she told her oldest son that, she wants to have a traditional service and she wants to go back home to Alabama and be buried at, the family cemetery out there in Alabama. Let's say in the early 2000s, she tells her middle daughter that, she wants to, stay here in the area. Maybe she got remarried and she wants to, be buried here in the area. Then 2 years ago, she told the youngest daughter that she wants to be cremated. So we're sitting at a table and, you have 3 different people telling 3 different stories, which are true,
Yeah.
but that have changed. But it's like, well, what are we going to do?
Who do we go off
Who do we
of?
go off of?
Yeah.
So it's like we remove ourselves from that and we get them to make those decisions. But we always try to encourage families to try to have those talks and those decisions. So after I get there to the place of passing, speak with family, take the loved one into our care, I'll take them back to our facility. And as I said, I'm a funeral director and an embalmer. So I believe in, let's go ahead and get this embalming done. Let's get it going right now. So 3:00 in the morning, 5:00 in the morning, 10:00 at night, I'm putting your loved one on the table. I'm doing my analysis of your loved one to see what's going to be the best course of action as far as the fluid that I would like to use as for preservation. That's what embalming is. Embalming is first, we want to disinfect your loved one. We want to preserve your loved one, and then we are to restore your loved one to look like themselves or even better. And some people like to throw in the word rejuvenate as well. So, but it's preserve. Disinfect, preserve, and then make ready, pretty much. So, those are the steps of the embalming. But as we know, with anyone, nobody is the same. So, someone may have edema, someone may have jaundice, someone may be a little bit obese. Someone may have just a lot of different things. And we have if you learn the chemicals and you learn about the different fluids that are out there, you'll be able to combat a lot of those things. So start with the embalming, get your loved one embalmed, call your family, see about setting up an arrangement conference, hopefully the next day. We all sit down at the funeral home. We plan out your services of what we want. And I tell people,
That's a lot.
I'm a party planner. So we're literally trying to plan a wedding in less than a week is usually how that is, because there's so many moving factors. There's so many things that are going on that have to take place for this funeral. There are so many different things that a lot of people don't think about. We have to notify Social Security. We have to notify the doctor that's going to sign the death certificate. We have to get death certificate information in the system. I have to get a casket ordered. I have to make sure that whatever cemetery that we're going to be working with, they know where your spaces are. What are the out of burial container requirements for the cemetery? What time and day?
So you're communicating with a bunch of people.
There are so many different steps that we have to do to make this process work. But we've built so many relationships with so many different people. So that's what we set all that up, and then I'll work the visitation the night before the service, work the service. I love working my service. If I'm working with my families, I work with my families all the way through. We finish the service. We schedule some time, maybe a month or two out. We'll sit down. We'll design a headstone, and we'll get that over to the marker company so they can deliver your headstone out to your loved one. So
after burial, that's kind of delivered later on to be.
And that's kind of customary, but some people they have them out now. Some people, they've already purchased their spaces. They know where their wife are already going to be. So they've already purchased them. They already have the headstone out there.
I know some.
All we have to do is call one of the companies that we use to go out, and we call it cut the death date. So all that is they take a little stencil out, they put the death date on there, and that's it. Because the headstone is already there. So that's something that we see a lot. So so that's the rundown of, like I said, being a real undertaker, going from point A all the way to point Z. That's what we do.
I forgot something that we should have put on there.
What? Go.
Okay, so guys, the guy that I'm about to talk about is he's fully aware of what I'm about to say, so it's not super sensitive. I don't know if can you talk about specifics?
I can't get too. I'm going.
We won't get super specific with what. So long story short, one of my best friends lost his daughter to a very strange and sudden illness, and it's something that she had been battling with. But didn't quite know, it was just terrible situation. My friend lost his, I think a very young daughter, like 2 or 3. I can't remember exactly how old she was, but very young. And it was terrible time, terrible situation. But, on the day of, I want to say the funeral, I go to the church, and I'm kind of making my way to go, go to the memorial thing. They did a whole thing, beautiful thing, and it was just very emotional and beautiful, and just a good reminder of who this girl was. And anyway, when I'm first walking into this funeral, I see the back of this guy, and I'm like, no way. And I just yell, Ray. And Ray turns around. He's like, Paul. And honestly, we had been separate for a long time, doing our own lives and stuff like that. I think we were Facebook friends or something, but we hadn't talked in a long time.
Yeah.
And I see him there, and I'm just like, man, no way. Of all the things, of all the situations, and it's this guy. So
that gave us a spark, and that did something that day. And I felt you looking at me, and because in those, man, working services like that are extremely difficult. And although we see death every day, whenever a child is involved, everybody's on their A game. It's and it's not to say that we aren't on our A game all the time, but it's like, hey, we're hyper focused.
Yeah.
So I felt your presence before you even said anything. Whoa. So then when you said something, I turned and I was like, get out of here. But I had to check myself and get back into, go mode so that I could be, as effective as I could for the family. But that was just a wild day. But yeah, those are some tough services, man, for sure. Mm-hmm. Those are some tough ones,
but that's how we kind of reconnected, that's how we got back on, and it was just a beautiful opportunity. We reconnected, and it had. I think I'd been to maybe 2 funerals other than that one, mm-hmm. and so still kind of a foreign concept to me, and I just couldn't. And I got to see you, like you said, on your A game, doing what you do best. Yeah. And wow, what an awesome opportunity! Yeah. And I knew that he was going to school. Last time we had spoke, I think, or we had seen each other at least. He was in school to do this. Yeah. So, years and years and years and years mm-hmm. prior. So anyway.
Yeah. So, and as you say with school, so to be becoming a funeral director, becoming an embalmer, becoming someone licensed in this business, you have to attend an accredited mortuary college. I went to the Dallas Institute of Funeral Services, DIFS, out in Dallas on Buckner Boulevard. And I was a full-time student and I was a full-time employee. So, like I said, I'm not here to brag or toot my own horn, but I would wake up, be in Dallas, Pleasant Grove area at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I will be there. I will be in school from 7 to noon. Now 7 to 12:30. Get out of school at 12:30. Get to Verizon at 1. I'll work 1 to 9 or 1 to 10. Then I'll go home, study, and do it all over again. And it's intense because at the mortuary college, it's a 2-year program, but they jam pack 4 years of schooling in 2 years. So we had to take 2 years of anatomy, 2 years of pathology, microbiology 1, microbiology 2. You have to do some ethics courses. You have to do embalming discussions. You have to do embalming labs. There were instances where we were having 8, 9 tests a week.
Wow.
To where it was like you would take a test, leave out, and go to your locker, get your notes, try to be in the student lounge, read, just try notes and put it back and run, take another exam, man. It was a lot. But you have to go to school and graduate from mortuary college, and then you take your state board for whatever state that you're in, and then you take what's called the national boards. And the national boards, you pass that, and you get your license for your state. You get your baby blue license, and that's a good day when you're able to get your baby blue license. But I tell people all the time that you don't have to be licensed to work in a funeral home. So you have to be licensed to be a funeral director and sign contracts with families, go into purchase agreements and things of that nature. You have to be a funeral director to work a service. You have to be there has to be a licensed funeral director at every funeral service, not every memorial service, but every funeral service. There has to be a licensed funeral director there. And when it comes to embalming, you have to be licensed to do things in the back. So when I say that you don't have to have license, like we have office staff, we have great support staff who, they have receptions, have an office manager, and we have to have them to survive. Man, they do a lot of work for us and they help us out all the time. And then we also have a few like funeral attendants, just people who just love to be a part of the business, who help us out on services, go with us and assist us on some calls maybe, and do things like that. So you don't have to be licensed to work in a funeral home, but if you want to do all the things, then you do have to go to school and get licensed. And I had to do a 2-year apprenticeship. That's where you work at a funeral home. You have to get a certain amount of cases where you work with a funeral director and you work with an embalmer, and get those cases. And then once you're done, your 2 years is done, you get your license.
So what are the cases? What does that mean?
So it means just working a funeral service. So just going and working, sitting in on arrangements, learning how to make arrangements, and then watching and assisting a licensed embalmer with some embalmings.
Gotcha.
So that's what those cases look like. So
okay.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's what, like I said, I know people get upset with certain people who do or don't have the license, and it's a pretty big thing where certain people will throw shade at each other. But I'll tell you, man, I know some funeral attendants. I know some people who've been working in funeral homes who will run circles around people who are licensed, and I respect them people just as much as I respect people with or without license. So I give everybody respect. But like I said, I'm dual licensed. Some people opt to only do partial. So a lot of the colleges now will do what's called the funeral director only program, and that's where you get a certificate. You don't get the full degree in mortuary science, but you get a certificate of funeral service, and you can become a licensed funeral director. No shade, people. No forewarning. I think that's why we see a lot of women getting into the funeral service industry. We saw a big boom, seeing more women get in funeral service, which is great, man. I champion anybody who wants to get in. I just want you to work. I don't care what you identify as, but if you're working, that's good for the business. So we see a lot of women going for the funeral director only program a lot. And that's, like I said, that's perfectly fine, because that fits into what it is that they want to do and what works best for them in their lives. So I was an embalmer only for quite a while. And this has to do with me going through some adversity. So I passed my embalmers national board, because the board is broken into the funeral director side and the embalming side. So we call it the arts, which is the funeral director side, and we call it the science, which is the embalmer side. Passed my embalmers, no problem, but the funeral director art side, I struggled with that. And when I tell you that it's all about God telling you that this is for you, and you have to be steadfast and stay focused on that, because I had to take that exam 8 times, man, over 7 years, 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and every time it was like I would get closer and closer and closer, and then the last time, I complete the exam, and I'm sitting there and I'm shaking, and I'm like, man, is this gonna be it? And I saw that I passed, man, and that took a lot of weight off of my shoulders, man. So,
wow.
As I always try to tell people, if something is for you, it's going to be for you. It may not happen in the time frame in which that you want it to happen, but if a promise was made to you by your higher power or God, in which I say, the promise is going to get delivered. I promise you that, man. So. For me, getting started in this, I'll share 2 stories with y'all. So I was in the 3rd grade, and we were having to do a project over, I think it was either someone in business or something like that, or occupation, I think. And I'm just sitting in class, and just the funeral home just kept popping up in my head. So I go home and I talk to my mom, and I was like, "Hey, I think I want to do my book report and my poem over the funeral home."
And this is what age?
So it's third grade. So was that 9?
Yeah,
10, 9ish or so. Yeah. So. Yeah. And so she was like, all right, cool, great. So she was supportive, so very supportive. So I did the whole book report, and I did the poem. The teacher, she kind of was looking a little side eye. She didn't say anything rude, but she was like, all right, this is a little different.
Well,
the kids in class, they clown me, but yeah, that was where it first started. Like I said, I know when going to church, there was a funeral home right across the street from the church that we went to. So I would always see them working, and I would always want to know, like, who are these guys who are in this community to where doctors, lawyers, dope boys, pastors, men, women, like people, chefs, people of all works and all walks of life knew these people, respected them, they dressed nice. I'm like, man, what's going on? Like, I think I want to know a little bit about this. So that's what kind of piqued my interest a little bit, So, at third grade, that's where that started, and then in the 7th grade, I think one of the loudest times that God spoke to me was we were in the cafeteria, and there was a piece of paper that was in front of us, and it was almost like it was horizontal, and it was a list of occupations on this piece of paper, and it was an alphabetical order, right? So you got your A's, B's, C's. So I'm getting to dentist and all the, engineer and all this. So I get to F's, right? So I get to F's and I see funeral director. Okay. So I'm trying to move down to look at the rest of the column, right? And my eyes won't move. They will not move at all. So they're stuck at funeral director in the middle of this page. Look, all right, just every time.
This is real, guys.
It's every time. Like it doesn't even matter.
Wow.
It's crazy. As soon as
he's got the goose pimples.
So funeral is stuck right here. So I'm trying to force my eyes to look at this whole column. So I blink, and I open my eyes, and the entire column says funeral director. So I'm sitting here and I'm like,
wow.
Okay, what is going on right now? So I blink again. I rub my eyes. Paul, I open my eyes. Vertical, horizontal, every occupation on this page. Every occupation said funeral director.
Holy macaroni.
Every occupation said funeral director.
Wow.
I was freaking out. I was like, what is going on? Am I sick? Is this what? So I freaked out. I circled it. The teacher asked what I circled. I said funeral director. Everybody laughed in the cafeteria. I get home. I'm discouraged. I tell my mom, and she was like, that's great. And so I'm like, why do you say that? She was like, that's God talking to you.
Wow.
She said, people go their whole lives and they don't know what they're supposed to do. And God talked to you in the 7th grade and told you that this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Man, you could have bought me for a nickel, man.
Wow.
Because I was like, this is insane, man. I could not believe it. And
that's crazy.
That's the foundation of me getting in this business. And there are so many additional ebbs and flows and things that happen along the way, but that is that core foundation of what got me into this, man.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Well, we wanna go deeper. We want to know more. We have to know more.
We're gonna know more.
So guys, we're gonna cut it here. and we're going to go on to part 2. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. We absolutely love that you guys are here all the way to the very end of every episode. Please hit the like button. Please share with your friends. We want everybody to be a part of these conversations. No Color Thick Skin Podcast. This is Paul and Ray. Catch us over on part 2 of Ray's Occupation. Peace, y'all.
Peace.